I have a sort of theory, which I'm not going to tell you.
Well, you can't just say that and then...
Well, I have a sort of theory that when, I know how you use this answer. I have a sort of theory that when people consider to vote Lib Dem, they ask themselves two questions. They don't have to ask the second question of the Tories and Labour because it's self-evident. But I think they ask themselves two questions. First of all, how does this affect me? How does it affect me? How does it affect my family? What are my taxes going to be? What is my family allowance going to be? Will they invest in the education of my kids? And the second question that they only ever ask for the Lib Dems is how will it affect my country? How will it affect the balance of power? How will my vote for them affect the balance of power in the government of the country next time? And my view is that we maximise our votes when we can answer both of those questions most comfortably. It's always easy to answer question one because we've got a policy. But question two, which is how is voting for you going to affect the government of the country, is usually a much more difficult question to answer. And one of the reasons we did so well in '97 is that everybody knew the answer to question two. The answer to question two is we were part of the forces that was bringing in a new government that was sweeping the Tories away. Nobody had any doubt about how their vote was going to be used in terms of the governance of Britain. And because we had made ourselves, by quite deft manoeuvring in the pre-97 Parliament, part of the process that swept the Tories away, we got the maximum benefit from that.
I'm going to ask you one more question. Iraq, how would things have been different if you had still been Lib Dem leader in 2003?
Oh, I've no doubt I'd have ceased to be Lib Dem leader. I mean, I believed the Iraq war was right. I have to say it, and I say it very bluntly in the book, with the benefit of hindsight, that looks to me like an error of judgment. Although, if I having made that, I suppose I'm entitled a little bit to defend myself. I was in Bosnia, separated from events, trying to keep together a coalition of nations who were in favour and against. And my job was to make sure that they held together so that I could deliver the things that were going on in Bosnia. Secondly, I believed the Prime Minister, as indeed I think he believed as well, about the weapons of mass destruction. I accuse Blair of misjudgment, but I don't accuse him of dishonesty and trying to deceive us. And I've got good evidence for that, because he was talking to me about Saddam Hussein's weapons of destruction in 1998 and saying that we're going to have to do something about that. And the third thing is the war wasn't the problem. Actually, the war was a success. We rolled up Saddam's army in very quick order with very light level forces. What was the problem was what came afterwards, when we made every mistake in the book. And who was to know? Well, some did, and it's to my shame that I didn't, that we were not adequately prepared or planned up for that. So I would have probably argued the case for my party that we should support the war. I have no doubt whatsoever that at a party conference I would have lost, and I'd have had to stand down as leader of the party. And I mean, my experience about the Lib Dems, it certainly isn't true of the Tory conference or the Labour one, but usually the conference is right.
I'm sure David Steele might have some views on that.
Well, even if I disagree
he's still
with
here.
Usually they would have been right on that occasion, and I would have been wrong.
Well, the book is going to be for sale at the back. Paddy will be very happy to sign it. There's also in the magazine a 6-page interview that we did a few weeks ago. And when we do these interviews, we always do a sort of quick fire thing at the end, which is always good for diary columns. And it's usually sort of, you give people two choices. And one of them, I said to Paddy, right, James Bond or Jack Bauer? And he looked completely mystified. Who's Jack Bauer? He said. And I thought, if there's one TV series that Paddy Ashdown ought to enjoy, it is 24. So I've got, as a thank you, the box set, 24. Well, thank you all very much for your questions. Thank you for coming. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks also to the City for putting this on tonight and sponsoring it. There'll be some drinks and canapes in a moment. Hope you stay around for a few drinks. Thank you very much. Thank you.